Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So out in the woods today, and I'm going to be talking about personal survival kits and the reality of survival and what that means, and just kind of, I'm going to be rambling a lot today about a lot of different stuff that all kind of relates back to the subject of survival, and hopefully learn a few things. And they're actually going to test out some gear too, so stay tuned because we are going to get into it today. Once you've set up shelter, getting your core body temperature up with a fire is probably the next thing that we always think of. And several ways of making a fire is really important, and I have many in this kit. A ferro rod. This is a backup item. It is not the primary tool in this kit. I have a butane lighter. I always carry butane lighters. But butane lighters do fail, and they especially fail when it's really, really cold. So that's why you have the backup of a ferro rod. Another thing I have is some of these little quick tinders. I just picked these up at Walmart on clearance. I think these are a UST brand. They're basically just cotton swabs that have been soaked in, it looks like wax. They're very hard. And what you do is you break these open, fluff them up, and then hit them with a spark, and then you have a flame. So that's going to help my fire get that going, because today it's marginal. The wood is very wet. I also carry fat wood. This is fat wood I actually harvested myself. I've seen that in one of my videos. This is another means of getting a fire going. I have a candle in here. Now the candle is going to help maintain body warmth inside of a shelter. It actually will raise the temperature in an enclosure, make sure there's ventilation, but it will also help a fire get going if I'm having trouble, keeping a flame going on a lighter or a piece of tinder. I can light this candle real quick, stick that in the ground, and then that can just do its thing and burn, and then I can put sticks over it and hopefully get a fire going. So those two things, fire and shelter, are to me probably the most important things right off the bat. They're going to help with my peace of mind, my mental attitude, and they're going to maintain my body temperature and keep me alive through the night. Food is not a priority. It really isn't. You can go a long time without food. It's not necessary, and you can survive quite a while without food. But water is a priority. So everyone should always carry a water bottle of some sort with them. And I like stainless steel containers because the obvious reason, I can boil in these, I can disinfect water if I have to. They don't have to be anything fancy. This is just a Stanley stainless steel single wall bottle that I found at Walmart. Works great, and we're gonna look at how to use that in the fire today too. I do have disinfectant tabs in case I'm having trouble making a fire and I find some water in a stream or something that I can disinfect. I also carry these little stand-up whirl bags. These hold a little bit of water, and you're able to drop a tab in them and then disinfect your water. So if you need to store extra water for a few days, you have that ability. Instead of just continually boiling water, you can boil it once or disinfect it with a tab and then store it for a little while. So it's nice to have a backup to the water bottle, just in case. Alright, so the next set of items that are going to be a priority are things that I cannot replicate easily, and those are tools. You don't have to have a gigantic knife with you, and you probably won't be carrying one everywhere you go, especially if you're just hiking or even scouting around on a hunting trip. You may have a pocket knife. Most guys carry a pocket knife nowadays. They're everywhere, and they're readily available and very cheap. So today all I have with me is this Avispa from Essie Knives. It's a big folder, but really that's all I need. I'm not out here processing a lot of wood. what I'm going to try to do is process some smaller shavings on my fat wood or fluff up some of that tinder that I brought with and start my fire that way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a twig fire. I'm going to do something simple. I'm going to gather wood quickly and easily and not worry about cutting down trees and doing all that kind of stuff, because honestly you don't need to do all that to get a fire going. You want the fire to be quick and easy, and the whole purpose of this is that this is a small kit that you are actually going to have in any of your bags that you go out when you go hiking. So tools, a pocket knife. I don't need a multi-tool. I don't need a Swiss Army knife. All those tools are nice when I'm camping and when I'm hunting, because I do use those tools, but for this situation where I'm just trying to get through the night, I don't need a multi-tool. It's not going to serve very many purposes. It's just dead weight. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. Whatever, you do what you got to do, but to me, I don't need it. I'd rather have a really nice, small, lightweight neck knife or a Mora or a good sturdy pocket knife that I can rely on. I just want the blade. Other things that I can't duplicate really easily are cordage. Natural cordage is a talented thing you need to learn how to do. I'm not very good at it. I've messed with it a little bit, but I would rather carry paracord with me. It's just a lot easier than trying to twist up some kind of cordage to start my shelter. So I carry a couple kinds. You'll always see in my videos, I always carry bank line and I always carry 550 cord. I carry both. They both have different purposes. Of course, the paracord is a multi-use item with its core. It has strands that can be broken down into smaller fibers that I can use. And then the bank line is it's really tough stuff, and it's inexpensive and very low bulk and weight. And I get all my cordage at 5 Call Survival Supply. I'll put a link down below for those guys. They have great items, and they have really quality 550 cord and bank line. It's stuff I trust, just not the cheap junk that you get at the retail store. Alright, just like fire prep that I normally do, I'm going to lay a base down of some dry wood that I found standing and I broke. That's going to be my base, and then what I've got over here is our twigs. Get these wet leaves out of it. Rough up this area. Let's see how that does. I don't think it'll take much. I don't think we're going to need that. So that didn't sustain very long. Let's cut into this a little bit more. Create some bigger pieces. There we go. Try that. Okay, that's why you don't rely on one tool. That's an itty bitty fire steel. Yeah, it went out. It went out. You can believe that. Alright, so reality of survival. Let's try some man-made tinder. So this is the Tender Quicks. I'm going to open this up, expose it. Create some surface area. So my next priority would be signaling, and that's a really overlooked aspect of kits and survival situations. If I get myself into a situation in the woods, I really need to stay put and wait for the search teams to do their job and find me. And you know, it is not it's not impossible to be passed up by a search team if they do not have canines working with them. If it's a ground team and they have no dogs available in that particular section they're searching, they may not see you. They may walk right past you. So you want to make yourself as visible as possible. There's a few things you should carry with you that's going to help that situation. So signal panels, bright orange cotton bandanas are great items to have. Also, a whistle is really important. That way you're doing some type of active signaling throughout the time you're in the woods. And we were always taught that 3 sounds or 3 blasts of anything means an emergency. So 3 gunshots in a row, 3 whistle blows in a row signals that there's a problem. And search teams should know this through their training, so it's a good technique to try. Also, an overlooked piece of signaling is some trail tape. I don't have very much here, but I can take this, unroll this, and then tie this off to a branch high above me as far as I can reach. And that's going to blow in the wind, and that's going to create some motion, and it's going to have some color, and then hopefully someone's going to see that from a distance. Not very far, but it's better than nothing, right? One thing I don't have in this kit is a signal mirror. Signal mirrors are great if you're in an area where there is lots of open terrain, like out west. Here in the woods, I don't have a lot of use for a signal mirror. I carry them, but I don't think they're going to ever come into play. It's going to be a while before someone is going to call a search plane to look for me. That's a major resource, and sheriff's departments are not inclined to call search planes right away. They're gonna deploy ground teams first. So signal mirrors aren't always the answer. So having bright orange items like hunting vests, safety vests, whistles, trail tape, those are great signaling items that I can use while in the woods. Also at night, a flashlight or a headlamp. This one just clips on the bill of my ball cap. I usually have some type of hat on to cover my bald head, so I like to have a headlamp, and this is a means of signaling as well. I can strobe this at night to get someone's attention. A lot of flashlights and headlamps have a strobe feature, so that's pretty good. With modern materials, things have gotten a lot lighter with tarps. So there's Cuban fiber, sil nylon. All those are very, very lightweight. Don't take up a lot of room in a small pack. So definitely those are an option. The fire starting, like I said, there isn't any pine in this area, and there's no spruce or birch bark or any of that kind of stuff. It's all just hard woods, and there's really not that much twigs, like small twigs, that I could find. I mean, I'd really have to scout around the area to find stuff, and what I did find was wet still, because it rained last night, rained all night, so everything was damp. But I tried to get stuff that was not on the ground, that was dead standing and in the leaning up against other trees. And the fat wood, it took off with a spark, but then it didn't last. And I didn't cut into it very much either. I didn't shave it down into shavings or break it up into little pieces. But the wind blew it out. I think that was the culprit. The wind came in from the corner and blew it out. So having the backup as the wet tinders, those really did the trick, and that put on top of the fat wood and lit that with the ferro rod, and then everything had enough of a flame, a long enough flame, that it got those twigs started, and were able to burn a pretty good little fire that I was able to set my water bottle in and get the water nice and hot. You don't always have to do a rolling boil for 3 or 4 minutes or whatever it is. Sometimes just a really super hot fire and get it really close to boiling for an extended time will kill enough of the bacteria and the pathogens and stuff that it's drinkable and safe. So yeah, all the little gadgets that we carry in our kits, do they work or don't they work? You never know until you try them, and I'm glad I came out and tried them, because I can sit here and talk all day to you guys and say, oh yeah, you should do this and you should carry that, and it's just a bunch of BS if I haven't actually gone out and tried it. And there's things that have been sitting in my kits for years that I've never even touched, that I've always just depended on theory, and that really doesn't cut it in the real world. So the reality of survival and the reality of survival kits is that you have to test what you have. Try different methods, try different pieces of gear and see what works for you. Practice them in your backyard where it's a nice, dry, safe environment and you can mess with it. Then take it out in the woods and try mess with it out there and see the differences. Today, it's windier than heck. That really affects how you set things up. It makes things more frustrating. It makes things take longer. Fires don't behave the way they're supposed to. The woods are wet. Fires don't start like they're supposed to. I don't have a big knife. I don't have a saw. I don't have an axe, so I'm not able to split wood to get down to that dry center. I have to use twigs and broken stuff that I found, and then I have to really rely on my fire kit to make sure that there's enough redundancy and backup in it that I can get something going if one of the items fails. So that's the whole point of this video. It's reality, and no matter what you think you know, until you actually experiment with it, you don't know nothing. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on The Prepared Wanderer.